for those who have great ideas, who are developing their own intellectual property, obviously it's really important to protect that intellectual property, make sure that they lock that value in their own business. Is that something that you help guide them with as well? I mean, we from a legal standpoint, we can do that, but whether or not you protect your IP doesn't necessarily protect you against those who exploit it commercially. It doesn't always work that way. So what are the sorts of practical things that you should do alongside, getting your legal protection in place?
So within what we do within Innovate UK Edge, we do sort of guide on that aspect to do with intellectual property. We're not IP attorneys. That's not what our bag is. So we're not the guys that will actually go forward and make applications for patents or whatever on your behalf. That's not our skill set. And the IP attorney firms, including yourselves that are out there, that definitely is your bag. That is stuff that standing on your head with your eyes closed type of thing. Where we approach this from is not what are the mechanisms by which you actually protect. It's more from the aspect that says, based upon your business strategy, should you protect? What should you protect? In which context and in what purposes? And how do you manage that relative then to the types of collaborations you're trying to build or the commercialization path that you're actually trying to take? So it's very much an aspect that says not dealing with IP from a protection or infringement sort of basis, but from an exploitation basis. Okay, if you recognize you've got that particular intellectual asset, how do you make money from it? And how does it fit within your business plan as to how you make money from it? That's where we fit in. And sometimes that ends up being reversed to the stage where we say, okay, do you realize that you've got these assets? Quite often businesses don't even realize how important the intellectual property is that they have. So often we'll actually draw out the fact that they've got these particular assets. They should recognize that they've got those assets. If they are critical to the business, then they need to understand what is the risks involved with other people misappropriating them and minimize and mitigate those risks as much as possible. And hence we end up sort of talking to the IP attorneys where there are gaps in that sort of protection sequence. And while we concentrate on, okay, are you using it properly? Are you sharing it appropriately? Are you licensing it to the right place? Are you working with the right collaboration partners to get the commercial return on those particular assets? So we, as Innovate UK Edge, we hold the key to the gateway of a scheme that's run by the Intellectual Property Office called IP Audits. And what IP Audits do is it attempts to actually do that strategic planning aspect of IP. Okay, so do you understand what you've got? Do you understand where it's actually applied? Do you understand what might be some of the risks and opportunities? And how do you build that together as a coherent IP strategy, which then may mean that you've got to take sort of enforcement action or whatever further down the line. So we hold the access to clients seeking that type of support. They either get it directly from us, or we will then be able to commission some IP audit work using an external agency, which is funded by the IPO that we then oversee. And it's a great scheme because it really helps businesses look at this particular aspect in much more detail and get it right at the appropriate time, rather than further down the line when somebody has walked off with their crown jewels and said, well, hang on a minute, don't we own those? No, because you never registered them.
You never did anything about it. I mean, it is a great scheme. I think we as a firm are one of the agencies that can help with that. And there's funding available, isn't there, for the cost of it?
Yes.
I think I'm right in saying it's £3,000.
The whole scheme costs about 300 grand's worth of consultancy for doing that sort of report, out of which about 2.5 of it is actually paid directly by the IPO. So we make those applications on behalf of the clients to the IPO, saying we think this business is valid for that type of scheme. It would benefit from that IP strategy. Can we actually apply for IPO funding to do that work on their behalf?